Riddle me this. Do androids indeed dream of electric sheep? Well, let's find out. Our next target is Sheepman. Fun fact, Sheepman was the very first Robot Master revealed for Mega Man 10. And you'd think we'd be transported to a farm, but nope. We're in cyberspace. I guess that means Sheepman's got plenty of RAM, huh? I'm not funny. And right off the bat, we're introduced to the stage's main gimmick. Those colored platforms will disappear as soon as you step foot on them. We also have these mouse cursor enemies called Pointans. They can be a little annoying because the squares they summon fly in different directions. That platform enemy is known as Barry 3. And yay, it's the return of shield attackers! An old Mega Man standby. Let's go up here and collect both of the screws. Right here, you want to be careful on what platforms you step foot on, because depending on how you step on them, you can grab the extra life or E-tank or W-tank or whatever is in there. Just make sure it doesn't fall to the death spikes. Sheepman's stage overall isn't that difficult. It's one of the easier stages in the game in my opinion, but it can still be tricky if you aren't careful. As I said in the very first video, both Blade Man and Sheepman can be easily taken out with the pea shooter of Doom. However, in Sheepman's case, the mini-boss can prove to be a handful if you are inexperienced. Right here is Pointans. I believe that's what its name is. Yes, Pointans. Pointans kind of interesting. It flies around and attaches itself to various armaments, such as a shield or a turret or whatnot. Oh, I will happily take that health. Here's something important to know. If you are playing as base, believe it or not, you can actually destroy the shield attackers from the front. Base utterly demolishes this stage, including Sheepman himself. So if you're playing as base, this is definitely a good stage to start out with. And here's another main gimmick of Sheepman's stage. These treadmills, which power up these platforms. I believe we've seen them in previous Mega Man games, although I can't remember which. Oh well, I can think about that later, because we're about to come to the stage's mini-boss. We're gonna head down here and get rid of these platforms, and there is some weapon power in case you need it. Alright, time to take on the mini-boss. Say hello to Octobulb. Octobulb will summon 2 probes, and if you don't destroy it in time after activating it, it'll send these sparks after you, and dodging them can be a bit of an issue. So here's what I like to do with Octobulb. I like to destroy one of them, because if you destroy both, it'll summon 2 more. Then after that probe is on one side, run to the other, and then start running on the treadmill to activate it, jump on the platforms, and then fire away. If you don't destroy it in time, those sparks will come after you, and that can spell trouble. But for now, we've emerged victorious and dimmed the bulb. Ha ha ha. Okay, that was a bad joke, so I'm just gonna move on. Sheepman's stage isn't particularly long either. So even if you do choke at a certain point, it's pretty easy to get back on your feet and proceed. Alright, let's use the rush coil to bounce up and grab both of these bolts. Alright, very nice. Now let's see if we can make this jump. Yes, we made it. Awesome. Alright, so we've got more Pointans here, and that one was kind enough to give us some health. A lot of people give Sheepman grief for being a lame robot master, and I really don't think so, because he is based on the novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick. And I think that idea is pure genius. Oh, disappearing block puzzles. I've missed you so. Another old Mega Man standby. And now that I think about it, the disappearing block puzzles have only appeared in stages belonging to Electric Robot Masters. Think about it. We had Elec Man, we had Bright Man, and Plug Man, and now we have Sheep Man. Alright, so this particular sequence of blocks is not very difficult. You just gotta pay attention and move accordingly, and try your best to avoid those death spikes. Because as I've mentioned before, nobody likes death spikes. They aren't friendly. Alright, that worked out pretty well. Thankfully, the Pointans don't take many hits. But you just have to be careful with them, in the fact that you don't want to get hit by those squares. Interestingly enough, the squares will fly in different directions. Now again, right here, you want to be careful with which platforms you jump on, because that way you'll get a free W tank. And that's going to come in handy when we get to Dr. Wily's castle. Also, don't jump on the death spikes as far as those colored platforms are concerned. Yes, even in Mega Man 10, the rule don't jump on death spikes still applies. And check it out, we've reached the end of the stage, so let's use the triple blade to get rid of those guys. But for Sheep Man, we're gonna need the rebound striker. So once you are ready, head through the end gate. Baba Cyber Sheep, have you any wool? Well, let's find out. Right off the bat, I'm gonna launch the rebound striker, and he's gonna launch a spark at you. Sheep Man will split into 4 clouds, and each of the clouds will fire thunderbolts. The last cloud that fires is always Sheep Man, and it will also send sparks along the floor, in normal mode, that is. Another thing you'll want to be careful of is the sparks he sends after you. Sometimes he'll send them and sometimes he won't, but the sparks will always travel from low to high and then back again. See, that one was a low, and now the next one is going to be a high spark. And that is it for Sheep Man. He's counting sheep. So to answer the question, Baba Cyber Sheep, do you have any wool? Yes sir, and it's our new weapon. Which is not that great, I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry, but Sheep Man's weapon is easily the worst in the game. You got a new weapon, the Thunder Wool. The Thunder Wool sends up a cloud and fires a lightning bolt below. It's slow, it's cumbersome, and if it's hit by an enemy, it gets destroyed. So it's not that great, even against enemies that are weak to it. Alright, I'll see you when I get to the alternate modes. Okay, time for Sheep Man Easy Mode. Once again, our weapon of choice is going to be the Rebound Striker. And nothing changes much for Sheep Man here. The sparks travel more slowly, and the lightning doesn't travel on the ground as it did in normal mode. Nevertheless, the strategy remains the same. Also, the last Thunderbolt does not produce sparks. If you only have the Mega Buster, this can be a long, drawn-out fight, but thankfully, he's not much of a challenge in easy mode. Okay, time for hard mode. And I'm not gonna lie, this battle can get pretty frantic. Sheep Man kinda gets a new attack, but the main threat is that his attacks travel much faster than before, namely the Thunderbolts. Furthermore, Sheep Man will produce sparks every time he hops. And the first Thunderbolt will also produce sparks that travel on the floor, and as you can see, they fire much more quickly. However, if you're patient and pay attention to where the sparks fall, as well as the lightning bolts, you should be okay. Well, that's going to be it for Sheepman. See you guys next time.